Time now 14 minutes past 8. More than 30 years after an RAF Chinook helicopter crashed and killed 29 people, their families are calling for a judge-led inquiry.
The crash on the Mull of Kintyre was initially blamed on pilot error, but that finding was overturned in 2011. This week, the victims' relatives handed a petition to Downing Street calling for an independent review into what caused the crash. Our reporter Stuart Wincup has more.
All 29 people on board the Chinook died when it crashed in 1994. 3 decades on, the families of those who lost their lives say they're being denied truth, transparency and justice.
I was only 7 when I lost my dad, and my brother and sister were 2, and it's been incredibly difficult growing up without a father figure at all.
Last year, a BBC documentary highlighted serious concerns about the helicopter's computer software, describing it as positively dangerous.
That flight never should have taken place, and we now know that. The aircraft was unairworthy and that this was a show flight between the RAF and the Army. And yes, it's been devastating for myself and for all the other families involved.
Those families came to Downing Street to hand in a petition calling for a judge-led public inquiry. It's been signed by more than 50,000 people.
We are also calling for the release of documents that have been sealed by the Ministry of Defence for 100 years to a time where even my daughter will be in her 70s. We want to know what the Ministry of Defence are hiding, and we want accountability, we want access to those documents, and we want answers.
The government says the Chinook helicopter has had an excellent safety record and has been a mainstay of operations in successive theatres of war. In a statement, the Ministry of Defence said the Mull of Kintyre crash was a tragic accident, and we understand the lack of certainty around the circumstances of the crash has added to the distress of the families. But there's already been 6 investigations and inquiries into the accident, including a judge-led review. But the families claim those numerous inquiries have never addressed key issues surrounding the circumstances of the crash.
They were serving their country, so it is absolutely crucial that the Ministry of Defence steps up and allows us to have this judge-led public inquiry.
The Ministry of Defence says our thoughts and sympathies remain with the families, friends and colleagues of all those who died. Stuart Wincup, BBC News.
Well, let's introduce you to 2 people closely linked to this. Nicola Rawcliffe's brother, Major Chris Doxey, and Darren Neely's father, Detective Chief Superintendent Maurice Neely, were both killed in the crash. They're with us here this morning. Morning to you both.
Good morning.
We'll come back to some of the procedure in just a moment. I think it's really worth people hearing, Nicola, from you. It's your brother who was killed in this accident.
Yeah.
When it happened, you were 31 years old.
I was.
And you were pregnant at the time.
Yeah.
Can you just give us a sense of that moment in time, what it was like when you first heard the news and the impact it had on you,
Yes.
your own family?
Yes. My husband and I actually were travelling home from a short holiday, and we didn't listen to any news in the car or anything. Got home, and in fact, there was a birthday card from Chris on the doormat. The first I knew of it, I had been named as Chris's next of kin if my parents were not available. They were in France, so I got a knock on the door on the morning of the 4th of June. And then I had the harrowing task of telling my parents that their eldest son, Chris, had been killed in a helicopter crash.
Those are moments you do not forget.
No, not at all, not at all. And Chris was one of 4, and so obviously my siblings were also needed to be told.
And Darren, you were a lot younger. You were, what, 13 years old? I mean, do you mind sharing with us that sort of time?
Yeah, it was difficult. Obviously, I was actually upstairs in my bedroom and I was revising for my exams because obviously it was the June time, and the phone rang. I just heard a cry from my mother, and I literally straight out of my seat downstairs. My mum was just on the ground, and next thing, my next door neighbour came through the door. And I just remember him saying, "We don't know what's happened." And it was that sort of numbness, like, what's going on? You know, a 13-year-old boy, like, you know, what's happened? And the whole night just played out really numbly for us. And the last thing I ever remember and stuff it is just being told, when I asked the questions, my dad dead? And I was yes, and I just went numb. And I just wanted to go to bed. and think of tomorrow morning being a different day. But for the rest of our lives, it changed. That was a big impact on us.
The key thing you've said there, other than obviously hearing devastating news, life-changing news, is we don't know what happened. What were you told in the months, weeks after, as to what had happened?
Well, initially, of course, the pilots were blamed, and I think every family knew that was not the case.
How did you know that?
How did we know? Because they were exemplary pilots. You know, they were the top pilots you could have, in the same way that it was the security, the intelligence officers that were there were the top elite, and they had an elite crew with them on the helicopter, and so we knew that it was not pilot error.
So what was it like when you pushed back on that? You would have seen your mum pushing back on that. What was it like? Because I know, you've got this campaign, you've got this petition, and you've got, 110 critical questions? It's a lot.
It is a lot, and there's no answers, and it's been 31 years. And this is why our campaign is looking for these answers.
And what kind of questions were the families asking that you weren't getting answers to?
Well, I think the main critical question is, why were 25 passengers and 4 crew put aboard an aircraft that we know to be unairworthy? We have got evidence to show that it is unairworthy, and none of that evidence has been put forward at any of the inquiries that have happened before, which is why we're looking for a judge-led public inquiry where those questions can be asked.
I'm assuming, Darren, how have you reasoned in your own head the reluctance thus far for it to be discussed, to be open in relation to that? How have you reasoned that?
It's been 17 years to 2011, and then we find out the pilots are exonerated, because relating to your last question there, that's what we were told. It was pilot error. And it was like, pilots. And they came and told us that. They spoke to my mum. I wasn't involved in that. I'm a 13-year-old boy. But my mum was told this, and for 17 years, we lived with that. Now it's 14 years, and there's no answers. For me to actually now, well, hold a minute, it's not pilot error. This aircraft crashed into the side of a mountain. It doesn't just do that. There needs to be a why behind this.
But if I go back to my question, which is, how do you, in your own heads, work out why it is that what you are seeking is not being done? Because you'll be aware that some people are thinking, well, maybe it's to do with information, that there is information there that should not be put into public domain, and that's why. If you like, there is a reality check around a mission, maybe, that someone is involved in. This is all out there. These questions are being asked.
The Ministry of Defence, people have been asking questions for 31 years. Yes, the families came together after the documentary was put out, and we have requested a meeting with the Ministry of Defence, and they have completely, for the last 18 months, since this campaign has really got going, just shut the door on us. On Tuesday, when we went to number 10 and handed in the petition with over 50,000 signatures on, we also then went to the Ministry of Defence to hand in a letter to ask to, we need these answers. Unfortunately, we were not allowed to hand in the letter. Since the Ministry of Defence have spoken to a family member, apologised for not accepting the letter, and have said that they will arrange delivery of it. We would like to see the Secretary of State. We would like to meet with the Prime Minister for him to listen to us, for us to be able to explain to him all of these questions. We have more than 110 questions. We've just published 110 that are critical in understanding the circumstances that led to the crash, because the evidence is there that it was unairworthy and shouldn't have left the ground.
But Darren, if going back to that original thought process, and everything you said makes a lot of sense, and you would think that you would hope that face to face that they would accept the passion and the how correct it should be, that questions should be answered. But then you've had the existing problem that there has been a reluctance to do that.
Yeah.
So to what do you put that down to?
Well, it's been 18 months and we've had no face-to-face meeting, no contact. The only contact we've had so far is a phone call to apologise for what happened on Tuesday. And this is what we're campaigning for, is to have that acknowledgement, that duty of candour. Documents are sealed for 100 years. That's unheard of at the moment. You know, like, this is the first I've ever heard of documents being sealed for 100 years.
Which sort of makes us feel there is something being covered up, which is why we need to have the public inquiry.
And have you had, now you've been told, please hand the letter in, we'll accept the letter. Have you been given any indication if an inquiry, a judge-led public inquiry will take place?
No, we haven't had any. No, we're still asking.
It was nice that to hear the words used by the MP on Tuesday, Tuesday it is, where he said a serious case. That's actually the first words to be used. That, oh, right, okay, they're aware it's a serious case.
Because it feels as if it's been swept away and just accept the answer, get on with your life.
Yeah.
We've told you and that's it.
And right at the heart of it, Nicola, as well, I mean, as you both said at the very beginning, those questions you would have asked on that day.
Yes.
In the immediate aftermath, they sit with you as we talk now.
Absolutely. And my father is, he'll be 96 next weekend. And he is still waiting to understand why Chris was not given the opportunity to say, no, I'm not going to go aboard this aircraft because there is something wrong with it.
Thank you for coming on the sofa and talking to us about this. This is not easy, but it must have been a very emotional week as well. But
absolutely,
step by step,
yes, absolutely. But we're strong. We're a strong campaign, and we're not going to go anywhere until we get those answers.
Yeah.
Nicola Rawcliffe, sister of Chris Doherty, Darren Neely, son of Detective Chief Superintendent Maurice Neely. Thank you both very much.
Thank you very much.